Welcome to Happy Hour with the Home Collective. We are your hosts, Bill Ball and Kristen McFeely. It's Friday. It's 5 o'clock. Kristen, what are you drinking today?
I am drinking something called Simply Spiked Signature Peach. It is a seltzer, as you can see here. I'm late to the seltzer game, guys. I am not one for the seltzers or the spiked teas and all that kind of stuff, except that we had a little team retreat last month, right? In July, the whole team went to Lake Harmony, and I ended up bringing a whole bunch of these, like a couple cases of these, and we had some left over, and now I'm kind of obsessed with them. So this is actually this is from July. This is from our retreat. I thought
that was from the lake house. They looked familiar.
Yes, and it's delicious.
Okay.
It's delicious. I don't know if this makes me, I'm a beer person, so now I'm starting to drink these spiked seltzers. And what's nice is they don't make you feel quite as bloated. But I think the alcohol content is about the same. So I don't know. They're good though. How about you, Bill? What are you drinking?
Don't be so hard on yourself. You don't have to drink, hardcore beer all the time.
I like beer.
Just to say you are a beer person. We all know that. But, I like to switch it up with the seasons anyway. So it's summertime, it's hot. You want to go with something lighter, something spiky. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to make excuses. I got your back. All right. Yeah. I am drinking Chimay Blue. This thing's been in my fridge for a while.
That's fancy.
I know, it's a little fancy, and it's really not this time of season, but I was like, what the hell? It's a little rainy and cloudy today. It felt a little cooler, so I was like, you know what? Maybe I can go for some kind of fall
Yeah, it's feeling like fall
activity.
Today. Yeah.
So
all right,
anyway,
I'm cracking this open now.
Yeah.
There we go.
Mine. Happy hour.
Happy hour. Nice pour.
I had to get the sound. I
like the sound effects.
It's been a while, so
it has.
It
has, but we are back. We're back. We're doing this podcast thing again. We've been on a little hiatus, a little break.
A short hiatus, as somebody once said.
Mm-hmm. A short 10-month hiatus. We said we were coming right back, and we didn't. So
we didn't.
Apologies to all of our listeners.
we should should we talk about that just for a split second? So when I made that, we decided to take a break. I guess it was like right after the Halloween show, and I don't know. I definitely needed a break. I think we all did. And then the plan was just to take off the holiday. I think, right? We were supposed to come back like right after the New Year. Mm-hmm. And then the New Year, went into February and then March and then, the progression
and then
up
the
until
summer.
Now.
Yep.
But we were talking about coming and we kept trying to figure out a date or when we're going to do it and how we're going to put it back out. And so we were trying to figure that out. And then eventually, finally, we decided, all right, well, you know what? After the summer, we'll start.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Here we are.
We're finally back.
Yeah. And we're happy to be back too. So I think what we did decide is we're going to change up the format slightly this time around. What we've gotten during our little break, surprisingly enough, are a lot of questions from listeners. A few actually asked where we were, but the rest of them asked some real estate questions.
Are you alive?
Yeah, are you
guys
still
alive?
there?
Do you still do real estate?
Listen, I'm flattered that anybody's listening to this thing, so I was thrilled to hear.
The fact that we get more than 3 downloads is a miracle.
I know.
So I'm always happy about that.
Me too. But we did get a lot of questions while we were gone, and now that we're going back through them all, we thought maybe we'll change up the format a bit and kind of make it a format where we're answering questions, whether they're real estate related, if they're just life related, funny, whatever you need, whatever you want to ask, send in your questions and we'll see what we can do to tackle them and see if Bill and I ever will agree on an answer. Most importantly.
So we were getting ready to start recording again. I went to our email address and was cleaning it up. And we saw some funny questions, some just general real estate questions, some funny stuff. So I said, you know what? We're coming back. And we said, maybe we should just read these questions on our first podcast back and see how it goes. So That's what we're going to do. Coming up next, we are going to answer some listener questions.
Okay, we're back. And so looking through some of these questions, we have one question that was asked by multiple people. So I feel like we need to address the elephant in the room right now. Anyone who's listening to this, later, we are in August of 2023. Interest rates are nearing and passing 7% right now. So the question that we were probably asked the most is, how are interest rates affecting the market? Bill, do you want to take a stab?
Yeah, terribly. Next question. No, yeah, it's tough. It's tough out there. And we try to be positive. We try to bring positive vibes to everything we do, and especially the show. But it's tough. It's tough. So I'm sure, Kristen, you're seeing similar stuff. I mean, it all depends, and this is always the answer to real estate. It always depends on like where you are, but in general, the rates are definitely affecting everywhere in one way or another. And yeah, it's the city seems to have slowed up pretty much, pretty significantly, I would say. I mean, July and August are typically slow anyway in the city.
Yeah.
People go on vacations. Was it like that in the burbs too, Kristen, in the past?
Not as much. I mean, I'll say the one thing with the interest rates is it just affects your purchasing power. So, I had people who were, looking in like kind of the 700-ish range for a while, buyers. And, back when the rates were much lower and kind of in the fives, low fives. And now that they're in the sevens and beyond, it's, they now can afford a $525,000 house. That's a totally different house than a $700,000 house. It really affects the purchasing power, which then affects what kind of house you can buy. One thing that I'm seeing personally are a lot more cash offers than I've ever seen before. Of course, that depends on the price point, but a lot of people who are deciding to just pay cash and not even get a mortgage because the rates are so high. And then I guess the plan is for them, when the rates do dip back down, they'll refinance and they'll pull some money out of that. But yeah, I'm seeing more cash buyers than I've ever seen. I was talking to some people on the team, even just the last couple days, and there have been some multiple offer situations out here in the burbs, and we're like, where are all these cash buyers coming from? In all my years of real estate, I've never seen so many. But I think people who have the means to do it are now going that route because the interest rates are so high.
Right, but that's ideal. But I mean, that's rare. I mean, still most buyers are getting a mortgage, right? I mean, especially our clients, our friends. It's rare. I mean, it's nice. It's a nice thing to be able to do. But most people are getting mortgages, and I think one of the problems with the rates being so high is sellers don't want to, if they don't need to move, they're just not moving. Right. So you have way less inventory on the market, because especially if you had a seller that buy in the last 8 years, 10 years, who were probably locked into rates anywhere from 2 to 4%, can't swallow the fact that, all right, well, I'm leaving a house that's paid down a bunch and I have a 2% interest rate, and now I got to go buy a property that's probably selling for over list, and I got to pay 7%. So it's like they can't swallow that. So I get it. So when a house does come up, especially in the burbs in Jersey, I'm seeing it here, you get multiple offers. So there's a ton of those. So the market's really tough. It's
tough.
great if you're selling. It's great if you're selling and you're already going somewhere that you have set somewhere. Maybe you have a second place, or you bought something somewhere else. But for people that are just trying to upgrade in the area, I mean, it's a tough time.
And first-time home buyers, it's really tough too. Really tough. Well, that kind of leads into the second question. Are you seeing? One of them was, how has COVID affected the market, but also city versus the suburbs. So what are you seeing in terms of the city versus the suburbs? I would say for me, half of my I would say my business is split these days, pretty much 50-50 city and burbs. I used to be almost all city. And, through the years, my clients, a lot of them have moved to the burbs. So I kind of have a little bit of both. I'm not licensed in New Jersey, just PA. But I will say in the city, I have a few listings that are sitting. I mean, getting some showings, not even a lot. Not much is happening with them. In the suburbs, we just, thankfully, I'm knocking on wood to make sure everything goes well, but we just won an offer yesterday, Tuesday, for a house that had 22 offers on it in Flowertown, which is in Montgomery County, right outside of the city. And it's a cute little Cape Cod house, cute, but 22 offers. We ended up having to go cash, waive inspections, and go $125,000 over list price.
And they won.
To get it. And we
You're
won.
the winner.
Thank goodness.
You're the winner.
Thank goodness. But there were some other offers that we were neck and neck with. So, I mean, that's unusual, I think, still, but that happens in the suburbs. You're not seeing that so much in the city. I think when COVID hit, that sort of tiny house trend that everybody was on board with a couple years ago went out the window. COVID happened. Everybody was working from home and even homeschooling, and everyone wanted more space. Everybody wanted outdoor space, a yard, a pool. And this flight from the city to the suburbs happened in 2020. And it hasn't really slowed up, I have to say. What have you seen?
I just lost a bid last week for Swarthmore, and there were 11 offers. So, yeah, and we had a good offer, and we had a strong offer, and we actually had a cash offer in on it. And I think she told me the agent was cool. It's nice. Just a little inside info. Like when you're as a realtor, when you're dealing with these situations, a lot of times the other agent kind of ghosts everybody that didn't win. Mm-hmm. You can't track them down. And it's such a pain in the ass. You wind up getting an email like a day later. Oh, well, seller took something else. Goodbye.
Yeah. After everybody sees it online on the MLS,
right? After they already updated it online, right?
Yeah.
But this agent was good. She actually called me because it's nice because she's going to avoid me trying to track her down. So I appreciate that. So she calls and she says, "Look, Bill, we had 11 offers. 3 of them were cash, and the one that we took was so high that it wasn't even cash. So they blew everybody out of the water." So my buyers were okay with that. They weren't going to go crazy for the property. They liked it, but they didn't absolutely love it. So they took a shot, and that's fine. And the people that really, really wanted it got it. So I think, unfortunately, I just think that this is the way it's going to be until the rates settle at a number. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, I still think that 7 historically is not crazy high. Mm-mm. It's the speed at which it got here.
Yeah.
But the problem is, even if they keep incrementally moving up slowly, we're going to see, this is what we're going to say. We're going to be stagnant with low inventory until the rate stays at a certain number, so people can get used to it. I mean, It's the same. Actually, I went back and listened to an episode we did late last year, and it's the same conversation. It's people need to get used to that rate, and we can't because it's always moving. Yeah. Even if it moves quarter of a point, half a point, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, until that settles down, I don't see it. I don't see it changing. How about you?
Yeah, no, I don't really either. I mean, but I do have to say, and I say this to my clients all the time, I have been doing this for a while. This is actually year 18 for me, which is crazy because I'm only 18 years old. But but
your left leg and arm.
Yeah. But when I first started in real estate, and we would run buyer closing cost numbers, it was always at 7%. That was the number we used back then. This is like 2005. We always used that number. And it wasn't until, and then I remember it was 5s for a very long time. And then there was that brief moment of, 2s and 3s, which it was basically like, here's free money. I mean, that couldn't last. It just couldn't. So to be back up at 7, you're absolutely right, Bill. What happened was it happened too fast. It happened last June, and it pretty much went from like the 5s to 7 almost overnight. And it just, everyone, it was just too much for people. But I think if we I think even if we stay at 7, it'll become the new normal.
That's what I'm thinking too. Is like you have to give people time to accept it, and then maybe, God willing, they come down a little even, and then all of a sudden 6 starts to look like 2.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So I was just trying to think of what I had to say. I went back and looked at some stats earlier today, and of course I had them in front of me, and I booted my computer, and I don't have them in front of me right now. But I'll give you the gist. I'll give you the gist of it, not to bore you, but just to give you an idea, like Philly County. So I just took the county as just like a gauge, right? So I just looked at all Philly County. So we just passed July of 2023. So I went back and looked at July 2023, July in 2022, and July in 2021, and it's progressively less pendings since then. And then July 2021, rates were probably still 4 or 5, right? So you could see it as the year went on and as the rate went up, the pendings went down. So like, just for example, these are estimations because I don't have it in front of me, and I forget exactly what the numbers were, but it was something like 1,600 pendings in July of 2021 versus like 1,100 in 22, and then like nine something last month.
That's significant. That's almost half. That's crazy.
No, it's not. Well, okay, yeah, from 2021.
From 2021,
so,
yeah.
Right. So, I mean, that's what's changed is the rates have gone up, right? Rates have gone up, and there's just less houses to grab. So, I mean, you're going to have to pen less. So hopefully it shakes loose soon.
Yeah. And also it is just time of year a little bit too. We are at the end of the summer, and this is typically when people are on vacations and traveling. And I always say usually the fall market kind of kicks into gear after Labor Day, and some more sellers decide to list. We'll see if inventory increases. I hope it does, because there's really very little out there right now.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, it is.
What else we got?
All right, another one. Yeah, so we've got another one. This one's kind of a more lighthearted one. What's the funniest thing you've ever seen on a showing or listing appointment?
The funniest thing we've seen. You want to go first?
Well, naked people. For me, it's always naked people. I've had that experience so many times. Naked people? Oh my God.
Are you serious?
So many times. Earlier in my career. But yes.
So many times? I mean, I get times. Once, but so many times?
Many times. Early in my career. Because back then I was selling a lot of like investment properties and stuff like that. I have a lot of investors I was working with. And these homes would be tenant occupied. You'd schedule the appointment. No one would notify the tenants. You'd show up. They were coming out of the shower. They'd be still in bed. Oh, yeah. Those were.
I mean, I've had that, but I don't remember seeing naked people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Having people still in the home is probably one of the big ones. I remember a scary moment. This is really taking it back. This was probably 2005. And I was working with my dear friend, Dana Siciliano, Enzo's mom. And we were going to shoot. This is back when we used to take our own photos too. We were going to shoot a property in Grace Ferry. And we arrived, opened the door, and then we see people running through, like out the kitchen window in the back, straight through the house. And we were just like, oh my God, there are people squatting here, obviously. And we found a cop who happened to be on the next corner, and he came in with his partner, guns drawn, let us into the house. And he was just like, okay, there's no need for you to be here. And we were like, no, we have to shoot this property today. It's supposed to list tomorrow. So we still went through the house, photographing it, and the cops waited and kind of followed us and escorted us through the home while we photographed it.
Wow.
That one I'll never forget.
Wow.
Not a funny moment, a scary moment. But
no, yeah. I had one that's sort of similar. I mean, it wasn't really that scary, but it was just weird. I had this triplex listed for sale in Passyunk Square, and it was vacant. And I had a showing there, and I would show up to show it because it was just, it was a lot to go over. So I got there, I always get to my appointments early. So I got there a little early, and I'm walking through the property. I get to the second floor. This is supposed to be a vacant building. And in the back bedroom, there's just a sleeping bag on the floor.
Oh.
So I'm like, is there somebody in this sleeping bag?
Oh, no.
I'm like, I got to go look. You know what I mean? So I start to creep up to this sleeping bag on the floor, and I could tell there's a body in this bag. And I'm just like, and I just kind of like take my foot and I kind of like poke it, and this bag jumps up in the air, and there was this woman, and she's like, like, oh my God, like, what are you doing? I go, what are you doing here? I go, what are you talking? She's like, oh my God. She's like, so-and-so said I could stay here. And I knew who she was talking about. It was kind of like a mixed-use commercial building, and I think one of the employees had a key, and he let somebody crash there without telling anybody. Wasn't supposed to be doing that. I actually felt bad for her because I'm like, all right, this poor woman is. I mean, I just was backing out of the room, and I go, listen, I got people coming here in 10 minutes. I was like, I'm going to back all the way out of this building. I said, get your stuff, and you got to go. And she was like, okay. So I didn't have any problems,
Yeah.
But I mean, that was.
Oh,
was
man.
Gets your heart pumping there.
It sure does.
What's going on? But I do have another one. You got one?
No, go for it.
I got a funny one. So I was showing this house. This was in Newbold. Showing this house to this young buyer. So this house needed some work, and I guess it was occupied, but I didn't even realize it was occupied. I schedule it, and I always knock because we've always walked in, and somebody's on the couch eating popcorn or something, whatever. So always knock, ring the bell, wait a few seconds, jingle the keys. I'm just stalling to see if somebody's going to come running out. I mean, the showing system's supposed to tell whoever's there that overnight notice the day before they know we're coming. So there's sometimes miscommunications between whoever's receiving the showing notifications and the people that actually live there. That happens sometimes. So I'm in this property. I swear, I'm in this property 15 minutes. I'm all through the ground floor. I'm all at the kitchen, the back, basement. So at this point, when you've been in a house 15 minutes, you figure it's empty.
Yeah.
You're figuring, all right, I'm good. You know what I mean? There's somebody would have came around, somebody would have came down, whatever. So we go up the steps, and as a realtor, Kristen, you would notice, I hate seeing bedroom doors shut.
Me too.
Because you just don't know what's on the other side of those doors. So lo and behold, back bedroom door shut. Walk up to the door, give it a little knock, knock, knock. Open the door, and there's a guy in bed. I was in this house 15 minutes. There's a guy in bed, and I'm like, oh. And he kind of like groggily, pops up, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm Bill. I'm here for the showing. We got to come through. He's like, he's not talking. He's mad. He's not talking. So we back out of the room, and I go to the front bedroom, give him a chance to wake up. This guy gets up, with no shirt on, and he's got boxers, hairs all over the place. Now this is like 11 o'clock in the morning. This, maybe he works night shift. I don't know. So he walks into the bathroom, and I'm in the front bedroom. We finish up in there, and now we got to walk by the bathroom, right? Well, he's got the bathroom door open,
Oh my God.
So I'm like, that's the only room we haven't seen yet. Like, I got to peek my head in here, So he's at the sink. This is great. He's at the sink brushing his teeth. And this poor guy got me standing right next to him going, hey, bud, can you scoot in a little? I got to get through.
Oh, my God.
He stops brushing his teeth, but he leaves the toothbrush in his mouth, and his arms are at his side, and he stands up looking in the mirror and then slowly turns to look at me with his toothbrush hanging out of his mouth. Like, he didn't say a word, and he said a million words just with that look.
Yep,
like,
I can picture.
Dude, I was asleep 7 seconds ago, and now you're in my face in my own bathroom. Just do what you got to do and get the hell out of here. Like one of those deals. I just couldn't believe it. So, I just thought that was crazy. So then we hustled out of there and we just laughed about it on the street. But yeah, I mean, that's the only one I can remember right now.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of times, especially when a property's tenant occupied, they're supposed to get the notice that someone's coming, but that does not always translate. I've walked in on a lot of people who were supposed to be notified.
Yeah, I've done that, but I haven't, not so much naked people.
Yep, naked people.
Lucky you. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up this episode. It's our first one back. We think that's good enough. Let's not force it. You know what I mean? Let's slowly work our way back.
Yeah.
But we did talk about this, and we're going to start doing some shorter episodes, try to keep them under 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes, something like that. If you guys have questions for us, I'm going to give you our email again. Actually, Kristen, do you want to give it or you want me to give it?
You can give it because I don't have the email.
All right. So it's the homecollectivehh@gmail.com. So if you want to submit any questions to us or any kind of fun topics you want to suggest, you can hit us there. Our Instagram is Home Collective Happy Hour. You can always DM us there. Me and Kristen both check that. And it would be fun to maybe talk about some more topics that you guys think might be interesting or funny. Either one.
Yeah.
Oh, and then show releases. I think we're going to do once a month instead of every other week, but we haven't really settled on that. Me and Kristen are still trying to figure that out. This should launch first week of September. This episode should be, we're at the end of August, so we're going to wait for after the holidays. This one should drop, and then we're just trying to figure out if we want to do every other week or if we're just going to stick to once a month. If you want to tell us your suggestion on that, that's fine too. If you want us to do every other week, we will. If you think once a month's good, that's fine. And I think that's it, Kristen. You got anything else before we wrap
easing
up
back
this puppy?
in. We're getting our feet under us again, so give us a little grace here. But
I'm forgetting how
we
to do
really
all this
missed it.
stuff.
But we've really missed it. So here we are. We're back, and we hope you guys enjoy it.
I think we're going to have, when we do guests, me and Kristen talk about this, I think we're going to go to a studio, bring a guest in. I think we might do some video with that. There's no point in videoing me and Kristen here. It's just you're seeing nothing. I'm sitting on my couch.
Although I am wearing my Home Collective Happy Hour t-shirt today.
We do have some swag. All right. Did I get any of that?
Yeah. And I also have a lot of koozies. If anybody wants any koozies, again, just DM us and we'll send them out.
Oh, you know what we'll do with the koozies? Let's take some pictures. We'll put it on the IG. See who wants koozies. We could do that too.
We can do that. And at some point, one of the other things we want to do is maybe host a quizzo at a local bar. So we'll have some swag and some prizes when that comes around too. But we're easing back.
An in-person HH? An in-person HH?
Yeah.
Okay.
In-person happy hour.
I like
it. Exactly.
Like
but we're
Fall's
easing back.
Perfect for that.
Exactly. Fall is going to be the best time. Yeah. Everybody's running around in the summer, So thank you for letting us take a little bit of a 10-month break.
10-month break.
10-month break. And we're excited to get this thing going again.
All right, Kristen, let's wrap this baby up. Good to see you.
You
Good
too.
to hear from you.
Yep.
All right, have a good weekend.
All right, see you later. Bye-bye.